Yes, you read that right. This is a video promoting the 1 year bulk. This is for all of you out there that have been spinning your wheels and not feeling like you're getting as muscular as you can, and you're still stuck in this endless cycle of bulking for 3 to 4 months, cutting, bulking, but really not getting anywhere because you're ending your bulk too early, you're pushing the cut too aggressively, and in general feel like it's impossible for you to commit to a 1 year bulk. I am here. The Bulk Fairy is here to enable you to mentally do so you can actually make some solid gains. I think this is a video that a lot of natty lifters out there, especially new lifters, should watch. But hey, what do I know? I'm biased. Let's get straight into the video. So yeah, we're diving deep into the benefits of committing to a full year of bulking. A long-term bulking phase can be a game changer for all of you out there that are seeking serious muscle growth, but you have to approach the year bulk strategically. A little primer, in case you don't know, bulking is all about creating a calorie surplus, aka consuming more calories than your body needs to maintain its current weight, and this surplus essentially provides the energy required for muscle growth. But it also means that you will gain some fat alongside muscle if you're in a true calorie surplus. Traditional bulking methods often advocate for massive calorie intakes, which results in significant weight gain and significant fat gain. But the goal of a well-planned year-long bulk is not to get you just fat and muscular, but to optimize muscle gain while minimizing fat accumulation. But why bulk for an entire year though, Dr. Pak? Won't I get super fat and out of shape and be like an obese person? No. But why bulk for an entire year, Dr. Pak? Won't I become obese and so out of shape and won't my health go to shit? No, we'll get to all that in a second, but get out of the echo chamber and the noceboing. Committing to a year-long bulk gives you the time your body needs to make substantial muscle gains. Muscle growth as a natty is a slow process, especially as you become more advanced in your training. A longer bulking phase allows you to stay in a calorie surplus long enough to add significant amounts of muscle mass without rushing the process, accumulating unnecessary fat, or not even gaining any muscle because you're just consistently cutting. A 1 year bulk will also allow you to focus more on your training and really push the things that matter for muscle growth by ensuring that you're continuously in a very slight calorie surplus, and we'll talk about exact numbers in a second. You can focus on pushing your training intensity, maybe doing a bit more training volume, and just being very consistent with hard training. But how much should you eat, you ask? Now, the biggest mistake people make during a bulk is overeating massively. The old eat big to get big mentality has led to many, including myself when I was younger, believe that as long as they're eating more, they're also on the right track. Sure, you'll still gain a lot of muscle, but we know that just eating more does not necessarily accelerate muscle growth. However, based on the current literature, we know that muscle growth will not just continuously increase more and scale to the amount of excess calories you're consuming. There comes a point where if you're eating beyond that, you're mostly just adding fat. Slight calorie surplus of around 5 to 10% above your maintenance calories seems to be enough to fuel muscle growth while keeping fat gain in check. For most people, this will be around 200 to 500 extra calories per day. Now, this doesn't sound like much, but over the course of a year, it will add up. You're not going to be gaining massive amounts of weight, maybe around 1% of your current body weight per month, but if you stick to it for a whole year, that's a whole lot of muscle gain. Quick disclaimer though, because many of you may fear that, oh, if I'm bulking and continuously gaining weight, even at a very conservative rate for over a year, I will probably ruin my health or be too fat or whatever. Measure your waist circumference. Make sure that your waist to height ratio is around the 0.5 mark. Keep your waist in centimeters, half of whatever your height is in centimeters, and you're fine. Gaining some weight over the course of a year while being physically active, hitting somewhere around 7,000 to 10,000 steps per day, and lifting consistently and with intensity is not going to magically ruin your health. Keep in mind that even if you're above the cutoff point for deleterious effects as far as like your waist circumference goes, or even BMI, the relative risk increases after that point are not as tragic as you may think they are. And if you're, again, eating plenty of whole foods, being physically active, and sleeping relatively well, it's likely that you're not going to see any differences to your health. And if you've actually upped your physical activity, it may be that you actually see improvements in your health. So no, Committing to a year-long bulk, one, doesn't mean becoming an absolute fatso, and even if you gain some body fat, as long as you're keeping things tidy, your health may not even be affected at all. As far as your macros go, things are relatively straightforward. 1.6 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day will allow you to maximize gains, even if you eat slightly less. It's really not a big deal. If you want, you can even eat more protein than that, and you may see a bit of an additional gain, but as long as you're in that range, you're covered. Consume some carbs. Ideally, try to aim for 0.6 grams per kilogram of body weight as far as your carb intake goes, and then allocate the remaining of your calories to fat. Consume about 30 to 40 grams of fiber per day for health and your digestive system, and you're covered. Do your best to eat mostly healthy foods, and that's it. No need to lose your mind. Monitor your body weight, ideally daily. Look at the average changes every week, and throw in a waist circumference measurement at some point every week under similar conditions, so that you know that, hey, you're not all of a sudden ballooning up or gaining a ton of visceral fat. Simple as that. Keep those variables in check and you're good. Even if you miss a few daily weigh-ins, as long as you're at waist circumference and not overdoing it with your calories, you're good. Want to eat a bit more protein on a certain day, a bit more fat on another, totally fine. Just do your shit consistently and do not major in the minors. Now, in order to maximize the benefits of a year-long bulk, your training needs to be on point. This is a time for you to really focus on pushing yourself in the gym, and every time you go, do your best to either slightly increase weight, do an extra rep here and there, and just do your best to absolutely push yourself as much as you can and within reason. You can watch any of my videos or even Milo's videos or any videos on how to structure a basic program, but ideally, try to train at the very least 3 times per week, and ideally somewhere in the 4 to 6 times per week mark. We know that doing enough training volume, without that meaning doing all the volume in the world, is important for gains. Have a variety of exercises for each muscle group, ideally 2 to 3 exercises per muscle group. Include multiple rep ranges to ensure you're ticking all boxes, but primarily train in the 5 to 10 rep range, but have some higher rep sets here and there. Make sure you're taking basic technique boxes like emphasizing the stretch and having some eccentric control, and that's it. You're covered. Just keep going and really place your focus on training. That's what will drive the growth. Obviously, the diet is conducive to you growing, but if you're just going to the gym and half-assing your sessions, sure, you're still gaining some muscle because you're engaging in resistance training, but since you're committing to the year bulk and you're doing your best to keep things in check from a nutrition standpoint, it's time to really lock in, brother or sister, winter arc, and really push that training for the entire year. But you know what can take care of your training when you're bulking, so you don't have to think about it whatsoever. And you can actually tell it, hey, I'm bulking, I'm actually in a calorie surplus, therefore push my training even more. MyoAdapt, our up-and-coming app that will literally coach you. The next best thing after premium one-to-one online coaching. Express your interest, aka sign up to get notified when it launches, myoadapt.com, and enjoy your bulking king or queen. We'll see you on the other side of the bulking bridge. But even with the best bulking strategy and even with the best intentions, some fat gain, as I said, is inevitable, and the key here is to manage it. Now, because you are committing to a year-long bulk, that does not necessarily mean that if you notice that fat gain is starting to get out of control, that you can do something about it. You can have a couple of maintenance weeks here and there, or even some very light mini cuts or debloating days, like have a week where you eat slightly below maintenance to sort of allow you to debloat a bit, maybe lose a tiny bit of that excess fat and just get back on it. You shouldn't be doing mini cuts for like 2-3 months, because then you're not mini cutting anymore. But just because you've said that you're committing to a year-long bulk, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have any maintenance weeks or the odd slight deficit, few days here and there if you're feeling overwhelmed with your weight gain. If your weight is going up too fast or you're gaining more fat than muscle, make sure that you absolutely G-check yourself on your calorie intake. Ideally, spend a few weeks at the beginning of your bulk before you officially commit to it, figuring out where your maintenance is based on your activity levels, your weight, and so on and so forth. Some calculators in the description below so you can figure that out a bit more easily, but Trial and error it for a couple of weeks, see where your calories are, and start slow. Start by adding 200 calories above your maintenance. See how that goes for a week or two. Even if you're just ever so slightly above maintenance, you're still making some gains. If you see that that rate of weight gain is sustainable and you're actually getting close to that 1% of body weight gained per month, solid, perfect. If not, adjust accordingly. Now, obviously, as you know, we are evidence-based and we love science and we love studies, yada, yada, yada. But evidence-based also means relying on some level of our own experience. I have been coaching and I still coach all sorts of individuals, from recreational lifters to high-level physique and strength sport athletes. And I've helped a lot of people bulk. I've worked with hundreds of people, not a flex, but from my own experience as a coach, there are some psychological benefits at committing to a long-term bulk. As I mentioned before, shorter bulking phases often result in like a bit of anxiety over how much muscle versus fat you're gaining, which then for some people leads to them rushing the process, leading to overeating and aggressive training, which can often backfire. With a longer bulk and having a whole year in front of you, you can take your time and focus on just appreciating and celebrating the small wins. This mindset shift can allow for at least some people to enjoy the process more, and knowing that each phase of your training and diet is moving you closer to your long-term goal versus just being like, okay, I've said by December, it's November now, another month, let's go push and eat more, gain more, because whatever. Like, I see that a lot, and it's something that transfers quite a bit from the enhanced side of things. But for us natties, unfortunately, a month of bulking, sure, you may make some gains. It's really nothing that will change your physique. A year-long bulk also allows you to have a bit more flexibility for periods of time where you may not be able to train for as long, although do your best to do so. But if you know that you have a year ahead of you, and based on the current literature on the minimum effective dose for both hypertrophy and strength, let's say during the Christmas holidays, you know that you're bulking for a year, you have another 6 months left. It's really not a big deal if for a couple of weeks you hit the gym hard and still do enough volume to be at that minimum effective dose of volume range, but you only hit it twice a week versus your usual 4 to 5 times a week. When you only have 2 to 3 months of bulking and you're in a relatively solid surplus, for some people that may lead to them thinking that, oh, if I miss the sessions now, why am I bulking? Might as well cut, do a few weeks of cutting, get back on the bulking, and just create a bit of a suboptimal environment as far as long-term gains go. My personal opinion, take it or leave it. Last but not least, supplements during a year-long bulk, because I know some people will ask. You don't really need any supplements. Sure, you can take creatine monohydrate, great supplement for muscle gain altogether, not like a bulking supplement that you should be only taking when bulking. You can take it throughout the entirety of your life. Obviously, having a whey protein or some form of protein powder around can make things easy peasy when it comes to hitting your daily intake, especially if you find it difficult to consume enough through just by eating whole foods alone. But overall, no magic supplement out there. If you're eating mostly whole foods and you're eating plenty of fruits and vegetables, at least on average, it's likely that you're leaving anything on the table and that you need any supplements. So, and there you have it. A year-long bulking phase, when done right, can make a huge difference to your gains journey. You can literally transform your physique to a great extent by committing to the damn bulk for a year. Bulk doesn't mean Lee Priest bulk from back in the day, but rather very slowly and conservatively gaining weight while really pushing your training and making sure that your health is on point. If you're a natty and you're a relatively new lifter, even if you're an absolute beginner, give it a go. You can cut easy peasy, or at least easy peasy-ish afterwards. And trust me, that year of bulking may do wonders for both your physique, strength, and overall enjoyment of lifting itself. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and the usual jazz. Rascal Apparel, 10% off. Friends, don't let friends quarter squat unless they're doing a length and partial. Length and partial gang. I always mess up the gang sign. I'm not gonna force it now. Anyways, length and partials, baby. We're out and about. We're doing it. Peace. Orestis.